What is an arc? It's part of a circle. All right, so imagine you have a circle or an ellipse. It could be ovalish, but you only have like a piece of it. So like maybe like I don't know, like from there to there, you have like that much. This piece is called an arc. All right, so let's create an arc that is pretty much dead center on the canvas. If the canvas is 400, 400, what's the center point of that whole canvas? 200, 200, 200. Very good. All right, and just so that we could see it, let's just make it 200 in width and also 200 in height. Now, if you press play, I'm just going to raise this console up. Notice that it gives us a little error. It says was expecting at least 6 arguments, but only received 4. So it's missing 2 more. And what I want you to do is just put in a couple numbers there. If you put in these numbers, it may not quite make sense to you. And that's because there are 2 ways to measure angles. If you took geometry before and you had to use a calculator to do trigonometry, that's sine, cosine, tangent, also known as SOHCAHTOA, right? That's the thing. Your teacher would most likely tell you had to change your calculator from radian to degree. All right, maybe they didn't explain why, but there are 2 ways to measure angles, and one of them is called radians. And just like your calculator, the default mode in this is radian, which we don't really know how to work with. We could learn how to do it. It's actually pretty simple, but I know that you guys know degrees. So let's tell the computer, hey, I want to work in degree mode. All right, and this is how we do it. So somewhere in your code, I'm going to put it right here in setup, because setup only runs once. Type angle mode in camel casing, right, which means that the first letter of that second word is uppercase. And you need to pass it an argument. And that argument would be degrees in all caps. All right, it should turn red, so you know like it understood what you were saying. Make sure you're not getting any errors. And when you hit play again, you'll notice that your arc changed. And let's just kind of talk about that for a second. Let's talk about what the start and stop angles really mean. The way how P5 is thinking about this, right? That's the center point. It's thinking about starting at this area, this part of the circle. That's your 0 degree starting point. And it's making the circle going in this direction. All right, it's going in a clockwise direction. And if you were to go around the whole circle, how many degrees? That's 360, right? So when you come right back to that starting point, it's actually the same thing as 360 degrees. So the beginning and the end is really the same point. If I wanted to go halfway across, how many degrees would that be? Yeah, 180 degrees, right? That's half of the 360. So let's type in 0 and 180, because I want to start at 0 and end at 180. And let's see what that looks like. So starting at 0, going to 180. And what do you know? I got exactly what I thought. Guess what? I could put in a 7th parameter. Type in pi, P-I-E, in all caps, so it turns you right. And then press play. You see how it created that border for like the remainder of the arc? A chord is basically a line segment inside of a circle. So if you do chord, it will connect the 2 ending points straight across. We already did the first one. I would like you to try to create these 3 other ones here. Let's do these 2 because I felt like these were the hardest ones to do. For this one, what would be the starting point? This is 180. So you're actually starting at 180, right? So let's see. I'm going to start at 180. Now, so look at how it's thinking about this, right? We start at 180. You're going up. You're passing 270. You're going all the way back to 360, which is also 0. And then you're going all the way to down here, and you're stopping right here. What point on the circle is this? This is 90. So you're going from 180 to 90, and then they use a pi finisher. And there it is. This distance, the height, is definitely different from the width, right? And it's taller. So let's make the height like, I don't know, maybe 300. And the width, let's make that 100. All right, so we're kind of getting there. What starting angle do you think this is? Remember, 0 is around here. You really have to picture that whole oval. 0 is right here. Like, picture the middle point right there. If this is 0, how much do you think this is? Do you see the center of the circle? Well, I shouldn't call it a circle. Let me try to complete that oval, right? This right here is 0. This is always your starting position, no matter where you are. This is 0. You're here, still you have to like see the circle. This is 0. So if this down here is 90, how much like do you estimate this part of it to be? I'm thinking like, I don't know, maybe 35 or something. Okay, that's good. Now remember, this is 180, and the benchmark up here is 270. So how much would this be, you think? So we're starting at 35 and ending at 220, right? And let's just see what that looks like. So starting at 35, ending at 220, and they use a chord finishing. And yeah, that was kind of like it. Maybe I should have done maybe like 45 or something instead. Yeah, I mean, that's good enough.